gang members sometimes use music to send messages to other members of the same gang?
Yes.
And do gang members use music to send messages to promote cohesiveness? So sorry. Do gang members use music to send messages to promote cohesiveness with their fellow gang members?
They do.
In your experience, what genre of music do gang members use to promote?
Just from my experience, being here and working here in Atlanta for over 30 years, I've only seen the gang members use rap music.
Does it always have to be rap music?
It don't always have to be, but that's what I've seen over my career.
And as you're listening to the music, are you in your mind thinking about your investigation and whether or not there are particular words in the music that match your investigations?
It depends. Every investigation is different. So if we do listen to it just to see if we can get any kind of, I guess, maybe confessions. Sometimes it's confessions in music or any kind of thing that is said that relates back to our investigation.
Welcome back to the channel. What is going on with the goings on with YSL and they detectives? The prosecution team brought in a new detective to take the place of the detective that was banned from the trial. And they want to make her a lyric expert. So we're going to get straight into it. Please hit the like button, please subscribe, and definitely turn on that notification bell. So when I get the drop, you get the drop. Let's get it.
About Jeffrey's music.
Okay.
And how many total lyrics or songs has Jeffrey Williams made?
I have no idea. I don't keep up with it. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. And you may have the same answer, so how many songs or he put out or a record label put out for public consumption besides how many were made, if you know?
I don't know.
I'm not just including it to you, I'm expanding to your co-workers, your team, the prosecution team. Do you know if anybody ever had that type of information to your knowledge?
I don't think that was relevant. I think the actual relevance was the things that were said. I think she in the lay term of the word. So I don't even understand. Okay.
You can continue.
I was just saying, I don't think that we targeted the music per se. I think it was just certain songs. We didn't try to keep up with how many songs were released over the years, or it was only particular songs that stood out that had certain that kind of either taunted the other side, or like I said, it's when you rap about stuff that actually happened, we paid attention.
Did you ever look to like a pattern? How many times in Jeffrey Williams songs, I'll just leave it at his, then I'm going to broaden it, but did he talk about, you know what a lick is?
Yes.
Just tell the jurors, they probably know. But
a lick could be a jacking, a robbery, or putting in work. Could be a smash and grab. Anything to get money. It can be considered a lick.
how often in Jeffrey's music does he use poetry to talk about licks?
Like I said, I don't listen to the music that much just to be an expert on his music. These couple of songs he talked about licks, but I can't tell you definitely how many times, but I understand that that was a way of life for him, and that he...
John, I have a motion.
I'm going to excuse the jury, and I'm going to excuse you, please.
All right, let's hear it.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, my belief is that I was asking about Mr. Williams' music and how often he would sing about or use poetry about licks. And the answer that came out is that is his, and I'm not quoting it, but so if I'm wrong, please apologize. But that's his way of life, something to that effect. I believe that's character. This is a gang expert. This is a 10-year, 12-year police officer, gang unit, ATF affiliate, and it's just repetitive. We just had the same exact issue come up with the former retired Detective Dennis, and I just don't understand. You know, I'm asking questions. I did not invoke character, and I get that's his way of life. Whatever the quote is. Okay, Mr.
I understand that was a way of life for him. Also, in the same answer, she's talking about not being an expert on his music. And I know she mentions lick as well. I think it comes anywhere near what happened with Investigator Dennis. I think that's a kind of vague, I do think it's somewhat non-responsive, but a vague answer that doesn't cross the line in the way that what Investigator Dennis said in his testimony, but I will have her back and instruct her, which frankly she'll know better anyway. But I do think it was kind of vague enough and wrapped up in enough other things. I will give a curative instruction if you all would like, or we can just move on. Whatever you prefer.
I would just ask for the mistrial.
You know, the judge told the prosecution team once before, prep your witnesses. As you can see, still wasn't up there 5 minutes before she said the wrong thing to make it a mistrial. But let's continue.
Ever spoken with the promoters or the marketers who market this music?
No.
Have you ever spoken with any record label personnel that's affiliated with Jeffrey Williams?
No.
How about, do you know whether Jeffrey Williams is, you mentioned 3 songs, I believe, Slime, and I'm just not going to say it, but SH blank T, Just How It Is, or fair to say?
Yes.
Do you know who actually wrote the lyrics to any of those songs?
I don't.
Do you know when any of those songs were actually created? By created, I mean actually done in the studio.
No.
Right. Did you ever speak with any of the co-artists on these songs?
No.
Oh, it's gonna get heated. But let's continue.
You were saying that it, and I don't want to misquote you, but that if someone raps or sings about an act of violence that actually occurred, then it becomes obvious of what?
To me, it's bragging. Could be taunting or bragging.
And well, let me ask you this: are you aware of whether Mr. Kendrick wrote any of those lyrics that were played in the courtroom earlier?
No, I'm not aware.
So you don't know if my client was even involved in writing those lyrics.
I never said he did.
And you're not aware of Mr. Kendrick in any way, shape, or form being tied to or involved in the murder of Donovan Thomas. Isn't that true?
I know he was arrested and charged or a suspect for it.
Were his fingerprints found anywhere?
I didn't work the homicide portion of that. You would have to refer to.
You don't know. You don't know if his
I
fingerprints.
didn't get into the homicide investigation.
You don't know if his fingerprints were found on the top of any evidence in the case?
No.
You don't know if his DNA was found?
No.
You don't know if any ballistics were found that were tied to Mr. Kendrick, correct?
No.
In fact, you're not aware of any eyewitnesses who saw Mr. Kendrick commit that crime, correct?
I don't know of any.
And you went to great lengths to give an expert opinion about what the state refers to as an exhibit, I believe, exhibit 535 YB. which is the song called Slime, and I apologize, I may be less genteel than Mr. Steele is, but it's a piece of evidence. The song's actual name is Slime Shit. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And you stated earlier you don't know the date that song was released, right?
No, I only see the date that it was uploaded to YouTube, like I told Mr. Steele.
You don't know the date it was written?
I don't.
You don't know who wrote the lyrics?
I don't.
And so if that song, if I told you that track was released officially on September 16th of 2015, and that...
Sustained.
I'll withdraw the question. If, hypothetically, if those lyrics were released in 2014, before the murder of Donovan Thomas, then wouldn't it be fair to say that the Tahoe mentioned in the song had nothing to do with Mr. Thomas's murder, right?
That would be fair.
You're not suggesting that whoever wrote the lyrics was psychic and predicted the murder of Donovan Thomas, right?
I did not say that.
Okay. You believe in the First Amendment, right?
I do.
You believe in people's right to free speech?
I do.
You believe in musicians' ability to create lyrics for art, right?
I do.
But you stated in your testimony that you think rap music that depicts violence is popular, but it shouldn't be.
I agree. It shouldn't be glorified.
And
I stand by that.
you also said that there are songs which have killed children in Atlanta. Which songs?
I don't know specific songs, but I know that it's music. The reason for the beef, as far as the Atlantic Station situation, they were going back and forth on social media with songs and disrespecting each other. Next thing you know is gunplay and children are dead.
You're the expert, detective. Which songs? Which songs regarding rap violence caused the death of children?
I don't know the name of the songs, but I know that those particular kids were involved in music, talking about each other in the music. Then it's violence spawned because of the music.
Do you think you should be an expert on rap lyrics?
Sustained.
I never said I was an expert on rap music. You said that.
You understand that lyrics, and even lyrics about violence, can be used as art, marketed and for commercial purposes without being factual, right? You agree with that?
I have heard of that and seen that, but
and that can be done in
it's
movies.
not. It's not a good thing. That's all I said.
Not a good thing. You ever seen the movie The Untouchables with Robert De Niro?
Probably not.
No. Goodfellas.
Seen Goodfellas.
Okay. So do you think Robert De Niro should be charged with crimes because he depicts murder and violence?
No.
What
He
about Al
didn't do it.
Pacino?
If he was charged when he stepped off the movie set and he went and did the actual things that he did in the movie, then yes, he should be charged.
But you said in earlier testimony that if it's depicting previous actual acts of violence, then that should be a crime.
Like I said, if Robert De Niro left the movie set and went out and shot somebody like he did in the movie, then yes, he should be charged.
That's not what you said earlier. You said,
Argumentative.
did you say earlier that someone who is rapping about a previous act of violence should be held responsible for that?
That's not what I said.
Okay.
I said that they put in the music or in the wording of the songs things that have happened, meaning whether it was a shooting, whether it was a drive-by, whether it was a smash and grab, whatever. I say that sometimes it can be a confession, sometimes it can be taunting just to the other gang members of the acts or whatever.
So if it's taunting, then it should be criminalized. Is that your...
I didn't say that either.
Okay. So Bob Marley singing "I Shot the Sheriff" is okay too, right?
You shoot the sheriff in real life like that man did up in Kentucky, then yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Or if it's like the sheriff shot the judge.
You don't know much about Bob Marley's life, do you?
What do they got to do with anything?
You understand that you've already testified that you have no concrete evidence that the lyrics that were played in this courtroom earlier were directly related to any actual criminal activity, right?
I didn't say it was connected to criminal activity. I never said that.
Well, okay, so they're just free speech then. We can agree on that?
It's free speech, but like I said, when you talk about a crime that actually happened and your group is the suspect, it's
what? It's what?
It's obvious that you were involved maybe in that crime.
It's obvious that you were involved if you're singing about it?
Could have been.
Yes, sir.
Object to the characterization of it's obvious that you were involved, and I'm going to object to.
What else?
It,
Hang on. To Mr. App's misstatement. Is that what you said? Ask your question again.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, what you're saying is, if someone sings about an act of violence that previously occurred, then it's obvious that they were involved.
That is a mistake. That
Okay.
wasn't
Is that what you're saying?
Not exactly. I'm saying that if crimes have been committed and then you go brag about it in a song, it's hard to defend that have anything to do with what you're pretty much confessing in a song.
Okay, and I guess that's my point. If Robert De Niro plays Al Capone, and he's playing Al, is it then obvious that he's the one who's in the mafia? I don't understand. Why is it that singing about a previous crime that occurred somehow ties you to that crime? What evidence do you, and let me rephrase, what evidence do you have that either Mr. Kendrick or Mr. Williams actually committed the murder of Donovan Thomas?
I didn't give you any. I didn't tell you that I had evidence of that. Did I tell you that?
You testified.
I testified that they killed Donovan Thomas.
You testified that it was obvious.
Got me
a moment
mixed
ago.
up. I didn't tell you that.
So it's not obvious that they're involved?
Objection, Your Honor, because I'm not sure where we're going to go, and so I want to.
Well, a minute ago,
Hang on and let me listen to her objection.
Can we approach her?
Yes.
Now the defense is going to put the nail in the coffin on who they allegedly believe did the crime of Donovan Thompson. Let's get it.
First of all, I just want to get one thing out of the way. Brief, and I know you were answering our question. You brought up some Atlantic Station incident. That has nothing to do with this case.
Oh,
correct?
no, it has nothing to do with this case.
Okay.
It was just representing gang violence.
Okay, cool. You, in preparation, you knew you were going to be testifying eventually, and you provided a CV
I did.
to the state, correct?
I did. It's probably been a while, though, because I might have updated it since I did my doctorate, maybe.
Okay. Yes, I understand. On Friday, when the state was asking about some of your background experiences, you were asked, have you received training on how gangs use music to promote violence? And you answered yes.
I have.
Okay, can you tell me the name of that class and who taught it and when that occurred?
I have attended like the Georgia Gang Investigation Association training where, and I can't remember the name of the individual. I know Marissa Vibrito has taught one at APD, but when I went to the GGIA one, I can't remember the name of the instructor,
Okay.
but I've had like at least 2 or 3 classes.
So Marissa Vibrito is someone who worked for the DA's office in Fulton County, correct?
She used to.
And she's also worked for the state of Georgia, correct? You ought to be on the witness list for this case, correct? Okay, so she taught that class.
She taught one of them.
Okay.
I've been to more than one.
Well, who specifically talked about how gangs use music. What individual, what professor, or was it an artist that talked about that? Who was it?
It wasn't a professor, it was law enforcement.
Oh, law enforcement. And who was the law enforcement?
The one that I do remember recently was Marissa. She taught one at APD.
All right, Marissa Viverito, who used to work for the DA's office. Okay. So there was no one from the music industry, no artists or anything there. Okay. Gangs, you were asked if you had training in how gangs use music to fear in other gangs. Again, who were the musicians or anyone that spoke to you about that?
No musicians.
Okay.
The classes that I've taken have been all from law enforcement when it came to gangs. My other classes at Columbia Southern were professors, but they didn't talk about gangs.
Okay. And the how gangs use music to promote fear in other gangs. What date was that? Who taught you about that?
I told you what class. I don't remember the instructor on one of them, but I do. Like I said, the most recent one at APD within the last 3 years. It might have been while she was still here. She taught that one. That's the one that stands out. But I did go to one down in South Fulton as well, but it was like a GGIA training.
You were asked how gangs use. You were asked about your training and how gangs use music to promote cohesiveness. Who taught that class?
Yes.
Okay, so no one from the music industry, and it seems like
every class was law enforcement.
And the one investigator Viverito, who's on the state's witness list for this case.
That's one of them.
Okay. And the same answer would be for your experience when the state asked you how gang members use music to send messages to rival gangs. Would those be your same answers?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then you were asked by the state here, among other things, to talk about lyrics in this case, and you've been speaking about specific lyrics.
Yes.
Okay, in that Bad Boy video, you didn't recognize the other artist?
No.
You
I don't
ever
know who that is.
You ever hear of Juice WRLD?
I've heard of it, but that's not anybody that came on the radar because he hadn't probably committed a crime here in Atlanta.
Okay. So as I understand it, in preparation of this testimony, and correct me if I get the timing wrong, sometime last week, the state gave you some music videos to review, or some songs to review?
Yes.
Okay. And how many?
The 3.
Okay, it was just those 3?
Just these 3.
Okay. And they were all songs by Jeffrey Williams?
Yes.
Okay. Did they not ask you to review a song called Homicide, written and performed by Lil Uzi featuring Fagiano?
Never heard of it, no.
Have you ever watched that video?
I haven't.
Okay, are you aware of this song?
No.
You aware that in that music video, in that song, Woody talks about putting money on someone else's head?
Not aware.
Are you aware that the person he talks about putting money on their head is a heavy-set African-American male?
Not aware of that.
Are you aware that the person he conspires with in that video to kill the heavy-set African-American male is Trevante Turner?
And also objection vague as to, are you talking about what happened in the video?
Yes.
This video, so
I haven't seen it.
Okay, so you're not aware that Trevante Turner played the role of the hitman in Woody's video, where
I haven't seen that video.
he depicts killing a heavyset African-American man. Okay. No further questions.